All right, now that we've gotten all that information, let's see if we can give this thing a sketch. I'm going to begin by putting in my amplitude. So I'm going 3 up and I'm going 3 down. Then also remember, we figured out what I'm going to start at. I'm going to start at pi on 6. So that means this isn't where the graph is actually starting, but just where I'm going to start sketching. So I'm going to start sketching here. So this is going to be pi on 6. I know that the period is pi, and I know that my domain is 2 pi, so we have to keep that in mind. So if I draw one full rotation here, let's see if we can just draw it nicely. I'm terrible at drawing. All right, we go up, we go down, like that. That is going to be, if I add, the period is pi, so I add pi onto that, that's going to bring me to 7 pi on 6. And then we have to go again. So I'll add on another pi to it. So we go up, we go down, we go up again. If I add pi onto 7 pi on 6, it will be 13 pi on 6. Now, hopefully you can realize that's bigger than 2 pi. So we've gone too far. We need to cut this back because we want to stop at 2 pi. So let's get rid of that. We want to stop somewhere there. We also need to go backwards. So I need to go back. And this is where your scale actually comes in handy a bit. I know that the scale is pi on 4. I know the scale is pi on 4. So if I just take for a second, I know I'm starting at pi on 6. My scale is pi on 4, right? Let's get them to have common denominators. So I could make them both have 12 as their common denominator. So over here, this would be 3 pi on 12. So that means technically I'd be starting at 2 pi on 12. And now I'm going to go back. That would be about here, wouldn't it? So that probably wasn't that necessary. It's going to be about there. It's going to be pretty close to it. We're not after anything like precision. We're not after like accurate precision here. I mean, it generally has to be correct, but if you draw it a bit higher, a bit lower, as long as it's in the general region, you'll be fine. We know what the y-intercept is going to be. It's going to be this, and so too with my endpoint. So this is going to be 0, negative 3, the square root of 3 on 2. And over here, this will be 2 pi, negative 3, the square root of 3 on 2. So you have to make sure that these are generally the same height, and they are. Perfect. All right, now there's one thing I have not done yet, and that is put in my intercepts. So that's going to be absolutely important in doing this. And this is where my scale will come in handy now, because I know that I'm starting at pi on 6, also known as 2 pi on 12. So now what I can do is I can just keep adding on 3 pi on 12 to things, so that this scale here, to figure out what things are going to be. So 2 pi on 12, this would be, let me just come here not to make a mistake, this would be 5 pi on 12, and this would be 8 pi on 12. And then we could keep on counting here. This would be 11 pi on 12. This would be 14 pi on 12, also known as 7 pi on 6, so that's already labeled for us. This would be 17 pi on 12, and this would be 20 pi on 12. So you can see how that scale is very useful to us. And then of course you'd need to simplify these. So this is 2 pi on 3. And this here is going to be 5 pi on 3, because you can divide them both by 4. So you'd actually have to get rid of these and put that there instead. So I'm just simplifying things down. 2 pi on 3. So make sure that your final one is all simplified. We use that scale efficiently there. We've got our y-intercept labeled. We've got our endpoint labeled. We've got all of that labeled. You can have a look at what this would look like on Desmos here. So let me just quickly bring up Desmos here for a second, and we can have a look as to what we have drawn. So I have drawn this graph here. You can see I have pi on 6, 2 pi on 3, 7 pi on 6, 5 pi on 3. The endpoint is 2 pi, and that is the same value as that. That's that. I'm going down to negative 3. I'm going up to 3. That all looks fantastic. Everything is labeled nicely. And we are all good. Hopefully you found this useful. It is a bit of a tricky skill, sketching these, but with time, you will get used to it.